Okay, the time is 6:30 p.m. The Louisville Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of February 19th, 2013 is called to order. And there is a quorum present. The first order of business is approval of the minutes of the February 5th, 2013 meeting. Are there any corrections or additions? If not, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Alvin,
Second.
seconded by Jared. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Agenda item 3 is a public hearing for zoning. It's consideration of a zone change request from general business GB to estate townhouse ETH on a 13.81 acres located at the northwest corner of North Summit Avenue and Civic Circle, further identified as Lot 1, Block A, Vista Ridge Business Park, West, Phase 6. This request is being made by Megatel Homes on behalf of the property owner. This is zoning case number PZ 2013-0202. Mary?
Excuse me. Good evening, Commissioners. This evening we'll be talking about a zone change over at the northwest corner of Summit and Civic Circle. Property is currently zoned general business. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the site. Over here we have the Walmart, and the site is directly across the street. This is Main Street. This is the church. Over here we have, I believe there's Goodwill, Chase Bank, and some other retailers along Main Street. To the north, we do have some single-family residential zoned R6. There is some more property just east of this property that is zoned residential as well. The proposed zoning is for estate townhouse. Now, estate townhouse does allow for either single-family detached or single-family attached products. In this particular instance, the applicant, Megatel, is planning to provide a single-family detached product. The estate townhouse zoning category does require that the minimum dwelling unit size is 2,000 square feet, which is substantially larger than most of our zoning categories. The offset to that is the lot size. It's a minimum 4,000 square foot lot. They are providing, or they plan to provide, a 5,600 square foot lot. They are looking at roughly 72 residences to occupy this area. They have provided a preliminary drawing of what they think they can do. Staff has not looked at this formally. We've just taken a glance at it. They trying to do a front entry product, so they will be providing driveways in the front, no alleys, which will require a variance from City Council. The current housing prices for this product, I'm not sure if you saw some pictures in your packet. They're currently building in McKinney and plan to provide a similar product here in Louisville. The price ranges for Louisville are planned to be roughly $220,000 to the low 300s. That's the price point they're looking for. It's just another picture. They are planning to do the wooden garage doors as they are doing in McKinney. This piece of property has been zoned general business for as long as at least as long as I've been here, a long time, and there's been no interest in that property being developed. Staff does recommend approval of this zoning category, and would recommend that you also recommend approval of the zone change from general business to estate townhouse. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Mary?
I don't have questions, but I have a comment. Should I save that for later? One comment is that, I think it's a great project. I think it's from an access perspective, just for everybody's general understanding, Civic, Circle, and Summit Avenue is kind of the hub, so to speak, of Louisville bus stops. There's 2 hubs for Louisville. All 3 routes serve this one location, and they all serve the mall. And I think from an access perspective, it'd be great if, instead of there being a giant wall for the people who live in this community to access those 3 stops, as if you had some type of walkway in between some of the dwellings. Again, I know we're not gerrymandering their drawing. I'm just throwing that out there as general information. It'd be great if the people who lived here had access directly to those stops. But all that to say, it seems like a great project, right? Adding residential in the middle of all the commercial. I'd like to see transit taken into consideration. Because those routes do go to the A train, which folks who live in this type of housing might appreciate.
Thank you, Jared. Okay, at this time, we'll open up a public hearing. If there's anyone in the gallery that wishes to speak concerning this zoning request, please step forward, sign in, and state your name, please.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission and staff, my name is Don Plunk. I'm with Henry S. Miller Development in Dallas. My address is 5001 Spring Valley Road in the city of Dallas. We represent Megatel Homes in most of their acquisitions in this region. And as it turns out, we also represent the property owner in that we were the brokers. Miller Company was the brokers who acquired it for Mr. Guzik. We've had it listed for a number of years, as Mary brought out, with almost no interest. Any calls have been for a use that's not conducive with general business, and either they were discouraged after talking with staff or decided to go elsewhere. Mr. Guzik unfortunately passed away toward the end of last year suddenly, and he has about 4 other properties in the city of Louisville that we are currently marketing. One is the Old Town area in the Central Business District. One is to the north, and he owns 2 office buildings here, his family. His wife is anxious to liquidate the rest, but that's not the principal reason we're here. We've identified this as a good location for a new residential project. Megatel is active in the Metroplex and in Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Lubbock, Oklahoma City, Phoenix, soon to be North Carolina, and soon to be in Mississippi. They build a very commendable product, as you've seen from the photos. They do a dressy front door. The reason we're asking for a state townhouse is to allow us to do the 5-foot side yards. The lots that we've proposed and have shown the sketch and are currently working on the preliminary plat to be submitted within the next few days would have 50-foot lots. We are amenable to the 2,000-foot minimum housing size. That's probably well within the range of what they're building. 2,000 to probably 3,400 square feet. Because of the land cost in Louisville and because of the development cost for this type of a project, the products would be in excess of what's being sold in McKinney. And as Mary said, those are about $220 to $295 or something like that. And these would be expected to be at least $220 to $240, upwards of $300. That compares very favorably with the existing housing to our north, which commendably, there is not a single house for sale in that subdivision. But the ranges off of the ad valorem tax rolls are anywhere from 166 to about 270. So we're well within that range. We have 2 access points, as we've shown. One would be off of Summit, which would be compatible with the driveway access that's into the Walmart. The other would be on Civic Circle. I have noticed that the bus stops do stop on the corner of Summit and Civic, and also on the south side of Civic back west of the church. I'm not sure if we can arrange a direct access point from the subdivision to those corners, because we intend to build a brick wall around the outside. But with those two access points, it would only be a very short walk to get to either one of those bus stops. With that, I won't belabor it further. If you have any questions of me, I'd be glad to answer. Otherwise, we respectfully request your approval of our request as shown.
Did I understand there will be a homeowners association also, or?
There will be a mandatory. That's sort of de rigueur with any subdivisions we do today.
What's your development timeline?
The preliminary plat's being processed right now and should be submitted within the next week or 10 days. Mary's told me that we will appear for the zoning before the council on March the 18th. Given another month and a half to prepare the plans, we could probably be under development by June 1st. That would get us a finished product ready to build models probably by February of next year. The housing world in the Dallas-Fort Worth area has exploded in the last 4 months. Larger production builders, corporate builders, are trying to find anything they can. They're buying lots, land. We're doing a lot of infill rezoning. We just recently rezoned a retail tract in Plano. They're building houses there. We're in the process of rezoning an industrial tract in the Colony. We're rezoning another one in South Arlington. These are all smaller infill portions. But, you know, people now don't want to go, unfortunately, to Melissa and Anna, and they want to be closer in. So we're trying to find locations that are suitable for housing without destroying the highest and best use of the land.
It's a nice-looking project.
Thank you.
Do you anticipate what timetable for the actual build-out of the whole 72?
Oh, with 70 houses, the best we could hope for in that price range would be maybe 45 to 55 houses a year. So if they can start building in, say, February of next year, logically, the last house would be started sometime in the late spring of 2015. So about a year and a half.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just say, reiterate, great big walls are great around communities, and they make you feel safe when you're inside. But I'd appreciate you continuing to consider the possibility of more direct access from a pedestrian standpoint. Louisville, it can be pretty difficult to access transit from our neighborhoods that are walled in. And so just for instance, somebody that, if you'll put well, you don't have that image up there. I mean, if you live in the kind of the elbow of that development, you've got to walk, you know, a quarter mile up the street and a quarter mile back down the street. When you could throw a rock at the bus stop, please don't throw rocks at bus stops, but you could. And so you've got folks kind of meandering around when, if you just added a walkway in between two of the homes, you could have direct access to the bus stop.
Well,
Again, obviously we're not here today to decide, you know, where the
That could be
sidewalks go.
discussed and with staff as the preliminary plat goes through. One consideration that you brought out, though, if an outlet was put through the wall, that means there would need to be a walkway down between houses. And then the consideration is the privacy of those two houses with continual traffic flow walking down through, or bicyclers going down through. Then the walls are there for two of the reasons, for aesthetic reasons and for security. So the fewer breaks that you can have in that wall for security, the better off you are.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Don. Appreciate it. Anyone else wish to come forward and speak? Please sign in and then just state your name.
I think we should not back off. Agree with you.
Okay.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions, and I'm not sure. My name is Bob Terrell, by the way, and I live on Stanford Lane, 1056. Robert Terrell is actually proper.
Okay.
But we live on the far end of this, but there's a lot of concerns about, I'm not sure I quite understood, they're talking about building a wall, or they building a wall all the way around, or just on the street fronts?
I think Mary has that answer.
The walls that they're proposing will be thoroughfare walls, so along Summit and along
So
Civic
it won't be
Circle.
along the creek,
No, they'll have their backyard
or on the
fences.
backside where the drainage is?
No,
Be backyard fenced in.
Is there gonna be,
there'll be backyard fences.
okay, how close is it coming to the drainage that comes right down the center of those two plots?
We'll have to see where the top of bank is and then have as part of their plating process, we'll have to identify where the top of bank is and how far back from that, because we'll need access to it for maintenance purposes.
Heads up on a lot of that is fill dirt. And if you, and we have watched it, we were the first occupants on Stanford Lane in 1995. We were out there by ourselves. And a lot of that is fill dirt. The closer you get to that creek, the more fill dirt there is. So anything you build back close to that creek is not going to stay there. You're going to have foundation problems and/or
No, that earth keeps moving.
it keeps moving and washing down and washing around.
That bank is
But,
much,
the
wider
drainage
than-
down between the two lots, is that gonna stay the same? It's just natural with growing up with trees and brush? If you're gonna come up to, in other words, you're coming up from the Summit side, okay, and then there's a drainage right down the middle. I've lived in Louisville since 1969, so there used to be a pond up there, and I think there's a spring, because that creek runs all the time, real slowly. And the drainage on that might be an issue for you also. And one other thing was, are they required then to build sidewalks
Yes.
on the outside of the wall?
Yes.
Yes.
Part of it? Okay.
yeah, because it
Yeah.
doesn't.
But, I mean, is
It'd be
that
like
the
any other
builder does that,
development,
or
yeah.
the city does that?
It's part of their development.
Because there is no sidewalk right now along Civic on either side. So anybody walking or anything like that has to walk through grass and stuff.
Right.
Right.
She said that's part of the builder's development, so I guess the builder
well,
would
I
build it,
didn't-
yeah.
Didn't really know it differs from city to city, but.
Yeah,
Like I say, there's only been two other things proposed there. One of them was a rehab center, probably about 12, 15 years ago.
oh, yeah, it was early years when we were there.
People all up and down that street were up in arms about that, so that never happened. And the last thing was Williams Oil Company
Yeah.
came out there and obtained drilling rights for natural gas. But they've since abandoned that. And
Well, I think the things that you've brought up will probably be addressed when they actually do the plat and lay out the lots and
Let 'em out,
and
yeah.
see the size
Well-
along the creek and stuff like that.
one other
so.
question, a lot of people can't come to these meetings at this time because they work in Dallas and other places, and they don't get home in time to come at 6:30, but, you gonna have one and two, are they all two-story? Are they all one-story, or is it a mixture of both, or what?
I'm not sure if they're going to be one or two stories. I would think to have 2,000 square feet, they're going to have to do a two-story product.
Well, see, that's a lot of the people who live directly on the other side of the creek from what you're gonna build. I mean, all of those lots are built up and sloped downward. Okay, you're gonna build a two-story home, so these people are gonna be looking right directly down into their backyard
Yeah, that was their concern.
and their house. That
Or
was
in their windows, you know, like if
Yeah.
it's like the blinds
You'd
are
have to make
open.
sure you have your blinds folded all the time, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, that's the concerns of most people on the street, is the two stories on the backside of the lot. Anywhere else wouldn't be, wouldn't even be a concern, but, I'm more concerned about the appearance and don't really care for the idea of a wooden fence back there, because I've seen these other developments and they don't maintain their wooden fences around their, what you're calling a backyard fence, is that what you called it?
Right, there's no requirement to have masonry wall between, your residential, their residential, there's no requirement there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be like, pretty much like we are. The
Well, your
actual
builders-
complex will be
Yeah.
stone or concrete, but the actual houses will have individual
So
wood
it
fences.
would be up to the city then to ensure, you have a complaint to the city to ensure that they do maintain This thing is at,
Well, we have code enforcement, that's what they do, they go out and make sure that people, if fences are down, you know, that
we had a
people maintain
homeowners
them.
association, and we got rid of it because what we were told in the beginning was not true. And we weren't even informed of it until we were already they were building our home. And it was about that thick. And some of the things were in there were absolutely ridiculous, you know, so a lot of it would,
You as a property owner, once that's built, if there's an issue with the fence, you have the right to call the code enforcement
Sure.
people and have them come and look at it, so.
yeah,
Okay,
that was my question, but
yeah.
yeah, like I say, the main concern, if possible, you know, and it may not work out that way, but if they could build their 2 stories anywhere other than, you know, right along that creek, that would be.
Yeah, where they're looking into the
I
other
mean, that would be a
homes.
lot of consideration for the people who are already there on Stanford Lane. They don't have a choice. You gotta do what you gotta do, I understand that, but they will all be 2 stories, is that basically to get the 2,000?
Well, this is a,
I'm not sure, we haven't seen anything, any products specifically for this development, but, you know, it's a minimum 2,000 square foot house size,
Yeah,
so depending on, you know, how large the lot is.
how large the lot, yeah.
I think 50-foot lots, I believe is what the
Right.
gentleman said.
Right, so most of our residential zoning categories allow for 2 or 2.5 stories, so it's not that, you know, someone on your side of the street could build a 2-story. That's not anything different.
Yeah,
Well, except ours are already there.
Well, true, but, you know,
Okay.
The-
I just wanted to get some information that I could, not only for myself, which doesn't affect me directly right now, I'm on a little further up, but to pass on to the neighbors and people that, some
That
of them.
can't come.
yeah, we had several come last time, but they didn't have the sign up in time, but there were several people from that development showed up
Right.
and had quite a
yeah,
discussion
we were the
about it.
same one, because we
We were here
expected some of
at
them
the
to be
last
able to
one
come
also.
this week.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't
Right.
able to.
So everything you said, I think, is kind of noted as public record for your comments for it, so.
Okay,
Well, we just, you know,
Yeah.
we're living in the least expensive homes. Yes, those homes will actually probably improve, if anything, our property values. So it's not something going to pull them down. That part of it is fine.
No, it looks like a very good development. It's better than a big box store
Well,
or a rehab center or something like that. So
We've
I
all
think you're
been-
getting the best of
we've all been there
possibility.
for 17 years, though,
Yeah.
with 2 open fields out there.
Yeah.
So you can sit out there and you see nothing, nothing sees you, rather than sitting in your backyard and have somebody looking at
Yeah.
you while you're looking at them, you know?
But it
So,
will not remain open for long, even regardless, so.
No.
All right, well, we thank you for your comments.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
and what did you say the name
You
of
have,
the department was for
When
the
will you have a
fence?
plan?
Oh, code control, code enforcement.
Code enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
Yeah, if you just dial the city number and ask for code enforcement, they can give it to you. so.
thanks.
Okay, if there's no one else wishes to speak, we'll close the public hearing.
no problem.
Are there any additional comments,
I'm
concerns?
I'm a proponent of the change.
Okay. All right, may I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve?
Okay, motion by Jared,
Second.
seconded by Michael. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item number 4 is adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
seconded by Steve. Those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned.